I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue old home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry seas, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue road home. Upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on. Read the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, getting stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free.
We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need.
Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, the world would die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, getting stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, getting stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building. We're building a new way. Yeah, I heard it. We're building us a new way. Yeah, I heard it on the front line. That we're building us a new way.
You are the new day. You are the new day. I will love you more than me and more than yesterday. If you can but prove to me you are the new day. Send the sun in time for
Good morning, and welcome to Sunday morning worship at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta. I am Laura Beth Brown, Director of Lifespan Religious Education, and I am joined this morning on the piano by our wonderful John Franjione. I'd like to invite you to be fully present this morning. Take part fully in our service. Sing with the hymns. If the Spirit moves, perhaps dance. And if you haven't already, go ahead and grab your chalice, and we will get started. Let's start, in fact, with our opening hymn, hymn number 389, Gathered Here. And I'm going to encourage you to do the hand movements with me. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near.
Thank you so much, Laura Beth and John. Welcome to UU Congregation of Atlanta's Sunday morning online worship. My name is Reverend Taryn Strauss, and I'm senior minister here. And it's quite a day. We've got tornado watches. It's National Coming Out Day, Indigenous Peoples Day. Atlanta Pride typically is happening. So a lot going on. And I am grateful to be honoring this moment in time with you as we are entering into our new worship series, Tikkun Olam, Repair the World. And we will talk more about that later in the service. Worship today, we are talking about getting proximate. So it's a good time for that. But welcome. Whomever you love, whatever path you are on, you are welcome here with us. I have some announcements for you. On Sunday, October 25th, from 1:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., we are going to have a socially distanced work day on our new playground at our new property at 2650 North Druid Hills Road. We're going to, in preparation for our trunk or treat on Halloween. All are welcome. You are welcome to come and help us beautify this space for our children. Family participation is especially encouraged for some much needed playground time. Even though there will be about as much work as there will be play, please contact UUCA member Carl Polizza if you would like to participate in this cleanup day at our new property on October 25th. Carl's email is going into our live chat right now. We also want to invite you to our Zoom Room social hour after the worship service. If you have not already, please sign up to receive an invitation to the Zoom Room social hour by following the link that's in your weekly update or the link being provided in the live stream chat right now. And now, let's hear a word from our congregational president, Jennifer Thilo, who's going to talk about how you can join our capital campaign and stewardship campaign as we build a new way together. Take it away, Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Thilo, your board president and volunteer for our capital campaign, Building a New Way Together. Our capital campaign needs your help to visit fellow congregants. If you're like me, you may find it to to sound a little intimidating to participate on a capital campaign. I felt that way at first. But when Ellen Beatty, someone I didn't know very well at first, came to visit with me on my back porch, we had a wonderful visit, sharing our thoughts about UCA, our vision for our future, and we became friends. My visits to others have been similar. I have made new friends, and I've also had wonderful visits with people that I already know and care for. It made me realize that we really are building a new way by sharing, connecting, reaching out, and envisioning our future together. We are creating the future for others. It's our turn to do for others what has already been done for us. We cannot do this alone. A small committee may be able to raise the funds, but we cannot build a new way together for our congregation. That takes each and every one of us. If you've already been visited by a fellow congregant for the capital campaign, please volunteer to visit at least 2 others. In this way, together, we will build our future and create a new way. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. So this is how it works. It's like a waterfall. So when you get a visit, then it is time for the capital campaign, and you join the campaign. Then you turn around and become a visitor for someone else, spreading joy, spreading hope, making connection during a time when many of us are struggling with distance and isolation. This is a time for us to come together. And this is a campaign about not just some of us, not just the leaders, but all of us. We want to see when we get to our new space and we have that list on the wall or whatever it's going to be of everybody who participated in the campaign, you're going to want your name up there. You want to know that you joined this campaign, that it was every one of us who got us to our new home together. We have so many amazing opportunities for community connection at UUCA, even during this time of physical distancing. If you want to know more about all the amazing things going on at UUCA, please be sure to sign up for our weekly update email newsletter. Each Friday, you will receive news about UUCA's services, Zoom gatherings, and justice initiatives right into your inbox. To sign up for our weekly update email, please click the link in the live stream chat. One of the things that's going on at UUCA is a weekly gentle yoga class that happens on Thursday mornings from 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. You can get your yoga mat, a pillow or two, and join our gentle yoga online. Yoga teacher and UCA member Joy Niskern-Murphy invites you to practice at your own safe level. And I know we can all use a little bit of grounding, healing space in our lives right about now. So if you have not attended a yoga class before, you want to sign up for this class, please reach out to Joy at cyclejoy@mindspring.com to receive the weekly Zoom link. Thanks so much, Joy. Through our live chat this morning, we know we can express love and care for each other. And as we know we have so many different opinions. That's a strength of our faith. It's a strength of our community. However, the YouTube chat, the live chat, it's not the place to voice those opinions and discuss them, as that will take away from the flow of the worship service. If you wish, you may use the live chat feature for 3 purposes, and 3 purposes only: to welcome and support one another, to affirm the hard work and effort of our worship leaders, and third, to spread good vibes, because we all need that. If you have any questions or you have concerns about the sermon or the worship, you can always contact me or our staff via email. And if you notice yourself becoming upset during the worship service, please know that we always have a lay minister standing by in our live chats. This Sunday, it is Barbara Begner. You can reach out to lay minister Barbara, and she will arrange a phone call with you offline so that others can enjoy the service. And now I want to invite you into that gentle care and welcome on our live stream chat. Please take a moment to welcome each other and to welcome anyone who may be visiting into this morning's worship. And now a message from David Yamashita about our capital campaign.
Hello, everyone. My name is David Yamashita, and I've been a UUCA member for the last 19 years. And why I'm speaking to you today, I want to tell you a little story. You know, I was a long-term UUCA member, valued the community a lot. But I have to tell you, I moved to Seattle 5 years ago, and we joined the congregation there, and we were very happy there. But I have to honestly tell you, there was something missing. It didn't quite feel the same. And I didn't really understand that until I came back to Atlanta. And I figured out one of the things that was missing that we really appreciate at UUCA is the community and the nurturing nature of our congregation. It felt like I never left. And when I came back, people told me, "Oh, we didn't know you were gone that long." So what a way to be welcomed back to the congregation. And I think much of it is due to our family, our children being raised within the UUCA community is really what makes the difference versus any other place I've been to. So that's why we are giving to the Capital campaign. It really is the place for community, for belonging to something, and we really appreciate that. If you haven't requested a visit, please go to uca.org/together and sign up easily for a visit. Thanks.
Thank you, David. I remember hearing when word got out that the Yamashita family was going to return back to Atlanta from Seattle. And everyone's like, "You gotta meet them. They're so amazing." And they were right. Yamashitas easily came back to UCA and now are in leadership in various places in the congregation. And this is a congregation that warmly welcomes anyone's return back, that creates a loving space for so many people to raise their kids. And so it's important for all of us to join the campaign. So I do hope you will follow David's advice and go to uca.org/together. Sign up to receive your capital campaign visit. Do not delay. Now is the moment. Now, won't you please join me? Get your chalice out at home, wherever you are, and light your chalice along with me as we say the chalice lighting words together. May the light of this flame illuminate our tradition of seeking, invite all who yearn for acceptance, and ignite our passion for justice and peace.
Olam hesed ibane, yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. 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 Olam hesed ibane, yadadai, yadadai, yadadai.
this world from love. Yada-dai, yada-dai, yada-dai-dai. And if we built this world from love, yada-dai, yada-dai, yada-dai-dai, then God will build this world from love. Yada-dai, yada-dai, yada-dai-dai. Olam hesedi b'nei. 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 Yada-dai, yada-dai, yada-dai-dai. Now, won't you please join me in the movement prayer led today by the Delaney family.
First, we vow to honor the spirit of life. We lift our arms and embrace the gifts of spirit. We bring these gifts unto ourselves with gratitude and breathe and smile. We share these gifts with the world. We remember to be present. Honor, embrace, gratitude, share, be present.
Amen. Namaste.
Abide with me, first falls the eventide. The darkness deepens, still with me abide. When other helpers fail and comforts flee, help of the helpless, oh, abide with me. Swift to its close, ebbs out life's little day. Earth's joys grow dim, its glories pass away. Change and decay in all around I see. O thou who changes not, abide with me.
Let us put hands upon hearts and feel the warm connection. Let love in this moment flow. Say to yourself, I will love myself. I will love others. And that love will heal the world. Now we hear the joys and sorrows of our congregation. Please send loving energy to Carol Ann Arvin and her mother, Christy Kinsall, as Christy recovers from a bad fall that broke some bones in her neck, wrist, and hand. Fortunately, surgery was not needed, but she must wear a hard plastic neck collar and wrist splint for 6 more weeks. Christy is happy to be back at Canterbury Court for rehab, and Carol Ann is connecting with her via daily phone and video chats. Your healing energy is appreciated. Please hold Reverend Rhett Baird in your heart this week. On October 14th, Rhett will undergo a cardiovascular procedure at Emory Decatur Hospital, where his daughter works and can be helpful to him. Rhett and his beloved wife of 60 years this week, Rhonda, they welcome your cards and emails of support and love this week. And now the words of my friend and colleague, Reverend Jude Geiger. We pause this holiday weekend to remember the Native American lives lost from European colonization and the ongoing genocide against Indigenous Americans. We remember, too, the anti-lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer violence that came with colonization and the harm that has been caused through the centuries. Teach us, O Sacred Spirit, to remember our history. Though we cannot make amends for what has come before, may we learn from those ways, never to repeat them in our lives today. May we develop new ways of relating to neighbor and stranger, without violence or coercion, deceit or greed. Mother of Grace, help us to find a sense of humility where we have privilege, and strength where we face oppression. In our struggles, may we learn compassion, and in our power, may we learn temperance. And as a community of faith, may we be safe harbor in a world that is often harsh towards difference. Challenge us to use our presence as a healing force for justice, equity, knowing that although we have come far in the civil rights struggles of our time, there are many people still left behind, basic rights under threat once again, and the work of the beloved community is more pressing now than ever before. We honor the Native and Indigenous Muskogee Creek people upon whose native land we now stand, in the southeastern forests. You are invited to say the names of people you are holding in your heart this morning, someone who needs some extra loving, healing energy coming towards them. Please write their names into our live chat or speak their names into this holy moment now. As humans have gathered for millennia, so we gather on this day to gently surrender to something beyond ourselves, to humbly acknowledge our mistakes, to ask forgiveness, seeking hope and renewal, to honor the earth that supports and sustains life, to remember that all beings are mysteriously connected, and to feel that connection. Now we still our bodies and we still our minds. We take in a big breath, and we exhale. We relax into this moment that our intentions make sacred. We enter into the wise silence.
I fear no foe, with thee at hand to bless. Miles have no weight, and tears no bitterness. Where is death's sting? Where grieve thy victory? I triumph still if thou abide with me. Abide with me. First falls the eventide. The darkness deepens, still with me abide. When other helpers fail and comforts flee, help of the helpless, oh, abide with me. Our story this morning comes from the book of Ruth in the Hebrew Bible, and in fact, our story is about Ruth. Now, if you listened to last week's sermon, you heard Reverend Taryn talk about David and Goliath. Well, Ruth is actually David's great-grandmother, so we are moving backwards or earlier in the story here. So the story tells us of Ruth and Orpah, two Moabite women, meaning they lived in Moab, who married two Judean men, meaning they were from the land of Judah. Now, this was very unusual because the Moabites and the Judeans did not get along. It was a famine in Judah that brought the Judeans to Moab. So did you get that? So two Moabite women, two Judean men married because there was a famine in Judah and brought the men to Moab. Now, the two men were the sons of Elimelech and Naomi. Now, can you say the father's name again with me? Elimelech. One more time. Elimelech. Yes, the Hebrew Bible has amazing, wonderful names. Elimelech and Naomi had also traveled to Moab with their sons. Well, unfortunately, within about 10 years, Elimelech and both sons had died. And so Naomi decided that she would travel alone, return back to Bethlehem, her home in Judah. She urged Ruth and Orpah to return to their families in Moab to receive support. Ruth and Naomi had formed a special friendship, though. And Ruth refused to leave Naomi. Ruth said, "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay." Even though Ruth knew she may not be fully accepted in Judah as a Moabite woman, she would not leave Naomi. And so Ruth's story is one of self-sacrifice, of loyalty, and certainly of love. A composer named Shoshana Jedwab created or wrote this lovely song commemorating the story, and I would like to teach it to you, and Reverend Taryn is going to join me on it. And so the words are pretty simple. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. And that repeats. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. And the chorus goes, and your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. Your divine, my divine. And this is a zipper song, so we'll start with beloved, which means we just add a different word each time. We're going to do beloved, and then refugees, and then children.
Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. And your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. Your divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, refugee. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, refugee. Where you go, I will go. And your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. Your divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, children. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, children. Where you go, I will go. And your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. Your divine, my divine.
Thank you so much, Laura Beth. I'm hoping that can become one of our songs we sing together at UUCA from now on. I love that song. So, did you all read the weekly update this week? Like the whole thing? I know the answer is yes. I know it. I know you did. There is so much life in this community, so much going on, so much that is coming alive. This is a congregation that is in the wilderness, in the desert, and we are making it through. This is the story of a congregation carrying each other through this wilderness, accompanying each other through the spiritual wilderness, through the imperial meltdown we are also witnessing in real time. You know, for me, I think I've told you, I am who I am because my UU church loved me. My parents, the church of my childhood, my Sunday school teachers and RE teachers. And I begin with this because Antonio Gramsci says those who are serious about being all-season love warriors, not just sunshine soldiers in this moment of spiritual wilderness and imperial meltdown, but all-season love warriors, they must begin with a critical historical inventory. So who are you really? How do you situate yourself in relation to your traditions? You know, we don't have just one tradition or one identity. Where do you come from? And how were you loved into being? We believe in each other. This is typically it's Pride weekend in Atlanta and in our congregation. Normally, this is the time we celebrate our fullest expression of ourselves, our authentic love. Whether we are a man loving a man, a woman loving a woman, a non-binary person or a transgender person or queer, we revel in it. We celebrate and uplift our beautiful diversity. And we become love warriors out there on the streets of Atlanta. This year, we can't even do that, right? But we can find that spirit, that celebration in our hearts, in our actions. You know, John Lewis, in his final words to us, he wrote, "Ordinary people with extraordinary vision will redeem the soul of America." That's us. That's what he's talking about. We encourage each other and we challenge each other. We push each other to bring our extraordinary vision to everything we do, every choice we make, every action we take. This is what we do. We bring our extraordinary vision to all of the programs we are offering that you can discover and learn about in our weekly update that can enliven your life, that can enrich your spirit, that can make you a all-season love warrior in your home, in your relationships. This is us making it through together. So please give now. Go to uuca.org/give. Your community needs you now to keep us strong. Please give generously for the ongoing ministries of this church, building up love warriors all across this city, this land. The offering will now be given and most gratefully received.
Let me carry your burden. If something's not right, I will let you know. Like a paint that's drying on a heart that's broke. Let me carry your burden. Get you back on a high when you're feeling low. When the weight's too heavy yet you won't let go. Come to me, my brother, and I will sit with you a while. Pretty soon I'll see you smile, and I know you will. No matter how much you're hurting right now, you know that everything will change in time. So let me carry your burden. Oh, let me carry your burden. When your mouth's on fire but your mind is cold, and you're fanning flames that won't keep you warm. Come to me, my brother, and I will sit with you a while. Pretty soon I'll see you smile, and you know you will. No matter how much you're hurting right now, you know everything will change in time. Let me carry your burden, oh brother of mine. Let me carry your burden. Come tomorrow, you'll be right as rain. In a quench of fire, wash away your stain. Come to me, my brother, and I will sit with you a while. Pretty soon I see you smile, and you know you will. Oh well, no matter how much you're hurting right now, you know that everything will change in time. Oh, I might just see you in another light. Got no dog here in this fight. I could carry your burden, oh brother of mine.
Thank you all. All right. So we are working on becoming love warriors, on ordinary people with extraordinary vision. Yeah, that's us. So blessings on your vision. Blessings on all of your tremendous acts of service for this congregation, for this community, for the people in it, for the people who love those people. That's how our acts of love and service, making a way for justice and equity, that's how they cascade outwards. So blessings on your gift today, your gifts in so many places, in so many ways. Please join me now in dedicating this offering to the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action we call community. We dedicate our lives, and these are offerings. Blessings on your gift. So I want to introduce this morning's reading. This is a clip of Brian Stevenson, lawyer, defender of people on death row, the executive director or the director of the Equal Justice Initiative, who was invited to give the closing keynote address at a gathering of CEOs a couple of years ago. And so I think that's just important to know as you watch this morning's reading.
I really want to talk about solutions. Whatever the area of concern, whether it's the environment and climate change, whether it's how we deal with new immigrants, whether we're talking about those who are burdened with disease or lack of education, I am persuaded there are things we can do that can make a difference, that can have an impact. And I actually think our leaders, our economic leaders, our CEOs have a critical role to play in this. So I want to share with you a little formula. I believe that to make a difference in creating a healthier community, a healthier society, a healthier nation, and thus a healthier economy, we've got to find ways to get proximate to the poor and the vulnerable. I absolutely believe that when we isolate ourselves, when we allow ourselves to be shielded and disconnected from those who are vulnerable and disfavored, we sustain and contribute to these problems. I am persuaded that in proximity there is something we can learn about how we change the world, how we change the environment, how we create healthier communities. I'm actually persuaded that there's power in proximity. And that too often we wait until we think we have all the answers before we get closer to those who have been marginalized. I'm actually persuaded that we've got to find ways to get closer to the disfavored, the marginalized, the excluded, the poor, the disabled, even if we don't have any answers about what we're going to do when we get there. The power is in proximity. Many of us have been taught that if there's a bad part of town, oh, don't put your business there. Don't visit that part of town. Stay as far away from that segment of the community as possible. I am persuaded we need to do the opposite. We need to find ways to engage and invest and position ourselves in the places where there is despair. You know, I learned about proximity not just from the work I've done and the study that I've done. I've actually learned about it from my grandmother. I had this amazing grandmother who was a force in my family and my life. She was a classic African-American matriarch. She was tough. She was strong. She was the daughter of people who were enslaved. Her parents were born in slavery, and they were in her ear constantly, and she was in my ear constantly. My grandmother was this amazing human being. She was very tactical and strategic. My grandmother was the end of every argument in our family. She was also the start of a lot of arguments in our family. And when I was a little boy, she would do this thing with me. She would come up to me when she would see me, and she'd give me this hug where she would squeeze me so tightly, I thought she was trying to hurt me. And then she'd let me go. And then my grandmother would see me an hour later and she'd say, "Brian, do you still feel me hugging you?" And if I said no, she would jump on me again. If I said yes, she'd let me be. So by the time I was 9 or 10, my grandmother had taught me the first thing I would ever always say to my grandmother, I'd say, "Mama, I always feel you hugging me." And she'd smile this smile. And I didn't appreciate what she was doing for me until she was much older. She worked as a domestic her whole life. She lived into her 90s. And she fell one day and she broke her hip, she developed cancer, and she was dying. I was in college at the time, and I went to see my grandmother, and I was devastated that this was going to be my last conversation. And I remember sitting next to her, holding her hand, pouring my heart out, saying all these things. Her eyes were closed. I didn't even think she could hear me. But when it was time to leave, I stepped to move away, and that's when my grandmother squeezed my hand. And she opened her eyes, and she looked at me, and she said, "Brian, do you still feel me hugging you?" And then she said, "I'm always going to be hugging you." And I tell you that because I actually think when we situate ourselves next to people who are excluded and marginalized and disfavored and left out, at a very minimum, we can find collective and institutional and meaningful ways to embrace these communities. And sometimes it is that witness that can be transformative. I've seen it happen. There have been times in my life when I felt challenged and overwhelmed, and then I felt the force of that woman wrapping her arms around me. I'm the product of someone's choice to get proximate.
So ends the reading. "These are the times," said Thomas Paine, "that try men's souls. And they are trying ours now. I'm sure I don't need to get into the litany of political divisions and stressors that threaten our democracy and our central nervous systems. This time last week, I was awake half the night before Sunday morning, refreshing my computer to find out if the President of the United States had survived the night, suffering from the virus he had earlier publicly decried as a liberal conspiracy. Our souls are beyond tired. They are worn thin, threadbare from an onslaught of lies and oppressive policy decisions, from the threat to our bodily autonomy as women and Black and Indigenous people of color, from the threat to our most basic civil liberties of marriage and the right to vote. Our souls have been tried." At this point, Rabbi Jonathan Sachs asks, is there something we can do, each of us, to be able to face the future without fear? I think there is, he says. One way into it is to see that perhaps the most simple way into a culture and into an age is to ask the question, what do people worship? People have worshiped so many things throughout time: the sun, the stars, the storm. Some people worship many gods, some one, some none. What do we worship? I think future anthropologists will take a look at the books we read on self-help, self-realization, self-esteem. They'll look at the way we talk about morality as being true to oneself, the way we talk about politics as a matter of individual rights. And they'll look at this wonderful new religious ritual we've created. You know the one, called the selfie. I think they will conclude that what we worship in our time is the self, the I. So, I wonder, how do we make that move from I to we? How do we release obsession over our own comfort, our own fate, and focus our energy on the other, on we? Well, one thing we have to do is get proximate to those who are suffering. I have been blessed to know what it is like to be proximate with someone who is struggling, who is on the margins of society. I have had the chance to build that trust. I grasped it as a child when my church, the Third Unitarian Church of Chicago, after the worship service, every single Sunday, we would walk across the street together to the Harriet Tubman House. That was an interfaith homeless shelter that we ran with a number of other congregations in the neighborhood. And each Sunday, we would walk over across the street and we would make lunch and serve food to folks. And then, after serving food, we would sit down and eat with them like humans, like friends, just leveling the field, engaging in simple lunchtime conversation week after week until we became true friends. We learned about each other's likes and dislikes. We recognized each other on the street in the neighborhood. And until I was 12 years old, when I thought about church, like we're going to church, I thought about that entire experience. The RE class, Sunday worship, and then serving and eating food with people who are hungry. That entire experience was church. And I still believe that. Then later, many years later, as a young adult, in my early 20s, I was an HIV/AIDS prevention educator. And my job was to go into prisons and juvenile justice centers, drug treatment centers, and halfway houses all across western North Carolina. I had a 19-county region I was responsible for, and I was to implement a safe-sex curriculum. Now, as a 22-year-old Yankee white girl, fresh out of my liberal arts college, you can imagine how well I was received in these environments. Yeah, they did not take me very seriously, just showing up with my condoms and other paraphernalia to the jail. So, on day one, I didn't do very much. I didn't try to implement my curriculum. I just asked them about themselves, tried to share a little bit about who I was if they cared, which they kind of didn't, to be honest. They rolled their eyes, they cracked jokes at my expense, and I came back the next week with small books or anything I was allowed to bring from the outside. And I came back the week after that. It took a couple of months of me returning week after week, steadfast, until the women were finally ready to talk about what was really going on in their lives, until we could talk about sexual health and safety and relationships and abusive men and all the things in their lives that made it really difficult to stay safe. And when they got released, we'd recognize each other on the streets, be like, "Hey, Taryn." And sometimes I'd see them out in the bars or the clubs. Remember, I was in my 20s at the time. These women and men and young people I met, we embraced each other. They left an imprint on my life, kind of like Brian Stevenson's grandmother left her imprint on his memory and his actions. The embrace that he carries with him and his work spending time with people on death row and his work spending time with CEOs of the Fortune 500. It's building trust, spending time returning to those who are suffering the most. Now, I think we sometimes kid ourselves in thinking that we are not already proximate with those who are suffering. Some of us in our congregation are already suffering economic hardship, suffering under policies because they are transgender or non-binary. There is already suffering in our midst, and we are already proximate with each other, except we don't always talk about such things. There's another side of getting proximate too that I know is on a lot of people's minds right now. This question: do we need to get proximate with those who do not agree with us? With people who may be supporting a different candidate or different policies than us? Now, I want to be clear on this. You do not have to spend your precious time, precious minutes of your life with people who want to take away your rights to life, to liberty, to freedom, to this pursuit of happiness. You do not have to spend time with people who do not want you to have the same rights that they enjoy. That is not getting proximate. That's not what we're talking about. That's just abusive. However, if someone you love and disagree with in a lower stakes way, someone who you disagree with but who ultimately cares for your freedom and your rights, well, then that might be worth your time to hear their story. Perhaps you disagree about an issue, not the issue of your right to live and be free, but to move in or to move in spaces that humanize you, but another kind of issue. Well, they may be suffering in some way you did not realize, and it may be worth your precious time to hear their suffering, to understand how they may be suffering, not to argue them out of it, but to listen, to understand. Now, we are entering into a new worship series together we are calling Tikkun Olam. That's a Hebrew phrase meaning world repair. The phrase Tikkun Olam remains connected with the human responsibility for fixing what is wrong with the world. And in the Mishnah, which is the body of classical rabbinic teachings, Tikkun Olam refers to social policy legislation providing extra protection to those who are disadvantaged. Governing, for example, conditions for the writing of divorce decrees and the freeing of slaves. We repair the world by placing ourselves in close proximity, creating an authentic interchange of the heart with those who are the most affected by inhumane public policies. And in true relationship, all things are possible. So, when it comes time for us to take action, whether it be designing our new campus for UUCA or taking a public stand for racial justice, how do we know which is the right action? How do we know what to write on our signs at the protest? If we have gotten proximate with those who suffer the most under racial oppression, well, they will tell you what to write on your sign. They will tell you what policy changes will help them the most. They will tell you what design will make our congregation's campus the most welcoming to them, who may be feeling welcome elsewhere. This is how we repair the world, by acting out of obligation to the close relationships we have formed with those who suffer the most in our time. And we will continue this series, Tikkun Olam, throughout the next 6 weeks. This will chart our path towards world repair, and this will get us through a deeply troubling and anxious election season together. And I want to leave us today with the words of the English rabbi, Jonathan Sacks, once again, who speaks about the us of responsibility. He says, do you know something? My favorite phrase in all of politics is a very American phrase. It's we the people. Why we the people? Because it says that we all share collective responsibility for our collective future. That's how things really are and should be. Have you noticed how magical thinking has taken over our politics? We say, all you've got to do is elect a strong leader and he or she will solve all of our problems for us. Now this is magical thinking. Then that's how we get the extremes. Then the far right, the far left, extreme religious, the extreme anti-religious, the far right dreaming of a golden age that never was. And the religious and the anti-religious equally convinced that all it takes is God or the absence of God to save us from ourselves. But that too is magical thinking, because the only people who will save us from ourselves is we the people. All of us together. When we do that, when we move from the politics of me to the politics of all of us together, we rediscover those beautiful, counterintuitive truths that a nation is strong when it cares for the weak, that it becomes rich when it cares for the poor, it becomes invulnerable when it cares about the vulnerable. That is what makes great nations. So, this is a simple suggestion from Rabbi Sachs. It might just change your life. It might just help you to change the world. Do a search and replace operation on the text of your mind. Wherever you encounter the word self, give me a minute, hold on. Wherever you encounter the word self, substitute the word other. Instead of self-help, other help. Instead of self-esteem, other esteem. If you do that, you will begin to feel the power of what for me is one of the most moving sentences in all of religious literature. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, because you are with me. We can face any future without fear, so long as we know we will not face it alone. For the sake of the future you, together, let us strengthen the future us. Amen. Blessed be. May it be so.
So please join me in singing our final hymn, hymn number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, and we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith. Then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Thank you so much to Laura, Beth, and John Franjione for the beautiful music today. Please rise in body or in spirit for our spiritual takeaway and our benediction. We're talking about a spiritual discipline of humility and faith, that if we are putting others beyond us, ahead of our own needs, that someone else will do the same for us, that we will all be caught. We will all catch each other. So the spiritual takeaway is, when you're worried about your own comfort, use that as a moment to worry about another person's comfort. Think about who you are proximate with. If you are thinking about something, about a policy, about an issue that affects someone else, maybe listen to them first. Talk with them about what they need and let that guide your best action. This is the way we will all become love warriors in this world. So take this spiritual humility into your heart and out into your week as you go. Go in peace. Go in love. Amen. Blessed be.
We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need.
Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, the world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, getting stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, getting stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building. We're building a new way. Yeah, I heard it. We're building us a new way. Yeah, I heard it on the front line. That we're building us a new way.
You are the new day, new day, the new day. I will love you more than me and more than yesterday. If you can but prove to me you are the new day. Send the sun in time for dawn. Let the birds all hail the morning. Love of life will urge me, say, you are the new day. When I lay me down at night, knowing we must fade, thoughts occur that this night might stay yesterday. Thoughts that we as humans small could slow worlds and end it all. Lie around me where they fall before the new day. One more day when time is running out for everyone. Like a breath I knew would come, I reach for a new day. Hope is my philosophy, just needs days in which to be. Love of life means hope for me, born on a new day. You are the new day. You are the new day.
little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
All through the night, I'm gonna let it shine.
All through the night, I'm gonna let it shine.
All through the night, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine.
Shine, let it, oh, let it shine. This little light of mine,
I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
little light of mine. Walk down that lonesome road all by yourself. Don't turn your head back over your shoulder, and only stop to rest yourself when the silver moon is shining high above the trees. If I had stopped to listen once or twice, if I had closed my mouth and opened my eyes, if I had cooled my head and warmed my heart, I'd not be on this road tonight. Carry on, never run feeling sorry for yourself. It doesn't save you from your troubled mind. Walk down that lonesome road all by yourself. Don't turn your head back over your shoulder, and only stop to rest yourself when the silver moon is shining high above the trees.
Have you ever seen the sky so beautiful, colorful, wide and wonderful? Have you ever felt the sunshine so brilliantly
days you've wasted worrying